But let's look at a Jupiter Wagons, an interesting name to watch out for in today's day of trade. And overall, if you go to see in terms of Jupiter Wagons as well, it's mainly on the way the Q3 numbers have panned out. Joining us on the show to discuss more with regards to the quarter is Vivek Lohia, MD at Jupiter Wagons. Vivek, firstly, good afternoon and welcome to the show. A strong set of numbers that we've seen, 82% growth in terms of profitability, margins have improved as well, and the order wins look substantial during the quarter. Is this trajectory something that you will be able to maintain going ahead?
Yeah, good afternoon. As you know, you're aware that the government is very focused on the railway sector, and in the current budget itself, the Honorable Finance Minister announced three additional freight corridors. So the thrust is very clear that they want the railway pie to improve, and by 2030, the target is that railway should have at least 50% share of the entire logistics sector, which is close to about 3 billion tons of transportation annually, from currently about 1 to 1.2 billion, which railway is doing. So definitely there is a lot of tailwind in the sector, and we are seeing a lot of demand. So I don't see any reason, why this trend would not continue.
Right. So currently, at what number, or at what level has the company ended in terms of the order book at the end of the third quarter, and where do you see it moving from here on, taking into consideration the orders and contracts that you have received from Indian Railway as well as private companies? Apart from that, the recent 4,000 BOXNS wagons that has come in as well, and the Defence Ministry order that we are looking at.
So our order book right now is close to about 7,000 odd crore plus. Going forward, there is already railway has in the pipeline tenders for about close to 30,000 odd wagons. Tenders for about 22,000 wagons are already out, so they are under deliberation, and we expect another 10 to 20,000 wagon orders in the very near future. So, in terms of the order size, I don't see a challenge at all. Besides this, also we are seeing the traction on the private sector continue. So whatever we are delivering every quarter, we are seeing renewed orders coming in from the private sector, and there is already a lot of private capex which is happening in the core sectors, mainly steel and cement. So that is also leading to substantial demand going forward. So for us right now, the key is on the execution part of the business, and that's where we are focused on. And this we are doing using our wagon capacity as well as through pilot.
Right. So with this, Vivek, the kind of expansion that you're looking at as well, one of the questions I have for you is, with the cost of funds currently, do you think that is something hitting the business? Is that a concern? And if so, do you think it's time to cut interest rates, taking into consideration that the RBI policy is just nearby?
Okay. So, as a company, we are pretty much a net debt-free company. So our borrowings are not anything substantial, and going forward also, since our cash flows are going to remain very strong, so we are not looking at a very large scale kind of borrowing. But again, I think for the growth momentum to continue, obviously interest rate cut is I think, which is going to be a very welcome step from the sector as such and from the industry in general.
Right. So everything said and done, if you have to look at the next 3 years, what's the key milestone that Jupiter Wagon wants to achieve?
I think for us, we have earmarked on certain expansion targets in terms of our foundry capacity, getting into the wheel set manufacturing. Uh, we have certain targets, the new businesses which we have started, We have set on the braking side of the business, on the passenger rolling stock business. Again, the government has announced very grand plans towards modernizing the entire passenger rolling stock fleet. So I think going forward, that those are the areas where we are going to focus on.
Right. So I think that's the trajectory one should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Vivek, so much for joining us on the show and sharing your views. So that's with regards to Jupiter Wagons in terms of their Q3 numbers. Let me quickly welcome in Sharmila Joshi as well from sharmilajoshi.com to understand what's her view on Jupiter Wagons. Sharmila, good afternoon and welcome. A quick comment in terms of how are you looking at a Jupiter Wagons and your top picks in the sector?
I think clearly as the management outlined, overall, I think the way the government is positioned on railways as a sector is encouraging. I think the only caveat or negative that I would sort of voice at this point in time is that the stocks have seen a huge run up. So a lot of these stocks are a little expensive from a valuation perspective. And then if the sort of sector preference doesn't stay with them, then they may not do much in this year. But I don't think, as you don't need really to worry in terms of what kind of order books they have or, what that delivery process is going to be. It's just that the valuations may not be in their favor. So I think that's the only caveat. Net, I would stay positive on the sector, but it may not be the fancied sector this year.
Right, not the fancied sector this year. In fact, railway stocks did see profit booking post the budget as well. Sharmila, stay with us.